Hello, my name is Joe Murray. I am the attorney for RDRS, and I'm sitting here with the founder, Liz Keller. And we just want to talk a little bit about what we're doing here at this new sanctuary and explain the wonderful work that you do in this beautiful Cherry Valley location. This is really God's country. I'm a city guy.
No, it is. It
I
definitely
get up
is.
here and see the mountains and the
Yeah, and it's a
beautiful
great
grounds.
place to rehabilitate New York City dogs because their life environment in the city shelter and depending on their background in their homes or wherever they were seized from or picked up from was very traumatic for most of the dogs that we work with. We work with dogs that are fearful, and a lot of them came from horrible situations, whether it be dog fighting rings in the Bronx, people that became homeless and they had to abandon them in parks.
Let me stop you for a second
sure.
because I'm a retired New York City police officer, so I remember,
Yeah, they get a lot of
especially
calls.
we were working in the 80s and 90s, like it was really hot.
Right.
How do you get some dogs that were rescued from dog fighting circles and
Right.
stuff like that? How do they come to
Right.
you?
Well,
Do
since
the
I've
police
been,
call you?
well, we've gotten calls from the police, but usually they have to go through the proper channels. So we usually get calls from New York City Animal Care and Control
Right.
directly. We can do sometimes intakes from the home to avoid the dog going into the shelter, but if they receive them, because NYPD brings the dogs directly to them also, then we pull from the shelter. We're what they call a New Hope partner. And I've been doing this rescue work for over 40 years, so I'm very well known in the New York City area. And sometimes even the ASPCA will call us. We've taken a lot of dogs from them over the years that were in dog fighting rings because they do most of those
So
seizures.
let me ask you, because I just don't know.
Right.
I only see them in the dog fighting scenario.
Right.
Once you get them, is there any hope for these dogs to rehabilitate and reacclimate them?
Yeah, and what's nice about RDRS is we do our work very slowly. We want to build trust with them. We got to get them back in good condition because they usually come in poor shape, and they also, some of them have blood diseases from the dog fighting ring. But we do give them time, and then if they're adoptable, which we've adopted quite a few, then they get placed. And if not, as long as they're happy here and they know that they're loved, they get fed, they get taken care of, they're very safe, so they can stay and live out their life with us because we have this beautiful property.
So I noticed Brandon, like I've been up here twice
Right.
now, and he is like the dog whisperer. Like there's some dogs that only he can
Right.
interact
Right.
with.
We work with some larger rescue organizations, and if they have trouble and they don't want to euthanize a dog, they'll come to us and see if we can help. And there's one dog his name is Kobe, and no one can really handle him. He's very fearful, aggressive, but he loves Brandon. Brandon is his caretaker. Brandon can pick him up like a baby and
It's
play with him.
amazing.
Yeah, it
It's
is. So he
amazing.
has a gift, and what's nice is, people that have that gift, when they're here, we welcome it, we encourage it, because not everybody really understands sometimes where they belong in this life. And
Right.
Brandon belongs here, and he knows it, and he's very
he's gifted.
appreciative to work with
He's
the
really-
dogs. Yep.
Really gifted. So in addition to the dog fighting scenarios, dogs that are rescued out of these criminal acts,
Right.
what else do you just do? Like you described the New Hope, like
Right.
you could just pull dogs out
Right,
of
if we see a
ACC?
dog that we like, we would ask them, but usually they call us because they're so overwhelmed. But we also work with veterans, which we added to our mission statement in 2014, and that has been an amazing journey. We speak to the family of a veteran who died in combat, and we always ask them if we would have permission to name our service dog or therapy dog in honor of their son or daughter, and that piece has been really well received. And they always seem to be a connection when we pick a name. When we talk to the family, they always say, oh my goodness, my son, like Patrick Hawkins, he loved pit bulls and he had a little rescue of his own. So we always seem to find the right family with a connection to dogs and rescues. And I just feel like their energy is around the dog, and the veterans love the fact that they have a dog named in honor of a fallen vet. And the dogs do really well. They almost train themselves, and I'm not even joking. Like, they know why they're there. We had a dog named Evie that went with a veteran named Gavin, and he saw 4 or 5 dogs the day he came up here to visit, and Evie was one of the last ones, and she went right up to him and laid at his feet, and he said, I'm done, that's her. And they have been an amazing team, and even though he was dealing with some serious medical issues for 10 years, nothing helped until he got Evie,
See that?
and he loves the dog to death. Yep.
This whole thing, RDRS, Rescue Dogs, Rescue Soldiers. That, I got to tell you, that really just pulled at my heart. You know, I retired in 2002, but I responded to Ground Zero
Right.
on 9/11.
Yeah, and it's
And I was so torn. I wanted to join the military. I was enraged at
what happened. It
happened,
was terribly
and,
upsetting to everyone. Yep.
it was
I
really.
can't even imagine being there. Yep.
So I have so
And what's
much
interesting-
respect for all those soldiers who.
Yep. And
you
we
know,
helped a
went-
fireman that was in 911 and 9/11, and it was interesting. The dog came from ACC, and he was in we had a Rikers program. We worked with juvenile boys because that's another piece. We go into detention centers and train the youth to train our dogs. And he lived at Rikers with this one unit for 8 weeks and graduated. And he was the only dog at the time that didn't have a home waiting. Usually people were in the wings waiting to get a dog. And we just said, you know, it's okay. And the officers in the bubble were upset that he didn't go to a home right away. They bought him a sweater, and it was just the cutest thing. But they eventually went to pick him up, and he was only out for like 2 weeks. And we got a call from Rikers that a neighbor of someone who worked there really wanted a dog. So my niece and I drove back down to Rikers to meet them because we always do visits. And it was kind of interesting because the whole time we're driving, we kept hitting fire trucks, whether they were in front of us or beeping at us. And I was like, what is going on with the fire department today? And we get there and we find out that he was a retired battalion chief and served in 9/11. And he was the only survivor in his
I can
unit.
imagine they lost whole
So that, like, I
companies.
couldn't even like listen to the wife
Yeah.
because she said he has been such a mess since their dog died.
Right.
And this dog just picked him. He ran right up to him. They went off for a walk in the parking lot at Rikers, and you just knew that this was it. And he became the best dog for this man. She calls, we check in, we still talk to them even though it was 5 years ago. And she said he's like the mayor. Him and this dog go out in the morning. The people meet them. They bring him coffee while he's on his walk with the dog.
wow.
And she said to us, "You saved my husband's life." So these are things that mean a lot to me, and I really want to protect our agency because it's such a special cause. We help not just dogs, we help children, we help people, and we love the animals. We do this 7 days a week. We've been doing it for 40 years. My staff has been doing it on limited resources.
Yes.
So we're really working to make like everything better. We want to revamp things. We've been doing this here for 11, 12 years, so it's time to, you know, we have to do things to get things